You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Y&R fans. Things are just getting bizarre right now where Phyllis Summers is concerned. It's like Danny Romalotti says one thing and she hears something entirely different. Is she deluded or is her English translator hopelessly broken? Red's desperation is showing and I fear what she'll do next. This is Belinda from Soap Dirt and we're going to dig into just what Phyllis might do as she feels Danny slipping through her fingers because he prefers Christine Williams to her. But first, click subscribe if you haven't, and now let's dig right in. So this week on Young Restless, Danny was happy to run into Christine at Crimson Lights. They had apparently not spoken since the night she saw him letting Phyllis do a tonsillectomy on him with her tongue. He leaned into that kiss for just a moment, unaware that Cricket was watching, and then he kind of stopped and stepped back from Phyllis and tried to set up boundaries, but it's too late. Kissing her back was the worst thing Danny could have done. Have you ever seen the movie Misery with James Caan and Kathy Bates? She played Annie, the #1 fan of an author who wound up in a car wreck, and she dragged him to her house, kept him captive, and generally acted like an obsessive lunatic. It was a great movie. I know Kathy Bates I'm pretty sure she was nominated for an Oscar for it. I can't recall if she won. I think she might have. Stephen King wrote the book. It was actually really good. So I mention this because I'm getting an Annie Wilkes vibe off of Phyllis where Danny is concerned. We know she's his #1 fan. That's what Annie always said. I'm your #1 fan in the creepiest voice. She's proven that on many occasions. If you do not know their history, Danny was once a legitimate rock star back in the day, not the washed up artist he seems to be now. And Phyllis was absolutely crazy about him, literally crazy. She had gotten herself pregnant by another man. Then she drugged Danny, got in bed with him, and raped him while he was out of it. And then Phyllis lied and said he impregnated her. That rape and baby lie are the only reason Danny is even in her life still right now. He should have had her arrested back then, but who'd believe some woman raped a rock star, right? And don't kid yourself, it was definitely rape. So Phyllis, his past sexual abuser, is once again targeting him. Do not get me wrong, I enjoy Phyllis. I'm a villain lover. Give me Tucker, Ashlyn Locke, Ian Ward, James Stark, Crazy Patty Williams. I love them. But it's also uncomfortable watching a sexual predator creep on their past victim. And what's also clear is that Phyllis is just as deluded now as she was back then. Danny's told her several times lately that he doesn't want to be with her and wants Christine Williams instead. But it's like Phyllis's ears have some sort of anti-cricket filter on them. She's, debugged them because she doesn't like the bug. When Danny rolled up on both Christine and Phyllis at Crimson Lights, I think he was with Christine and then Phyllis rolls up on them. He said he didn't want the drama between them, so he was just going to be in the studio. And then Phyllis turned around and told Christine she thinks Danny came there to say he wants to be with her and not Christine. It just kind of went on and on. It was outrageous. And clearly what Phyllis is hearing in her desperate and deluded brain. Later in that same episode, Danny told Daniel he feels like he has to be nice to Phyllis, that he owes her that. He kind of feels obligated. But Daniel knows his mom is off her rocker and cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when it comes to his dad. And he told Danny, no, you don't owe her anything. Don't buy into it. Don't get close. Just stay away. Meanwhile, Christine made it clear she won't be with Danny or near him while Phyllis is still in the picture. And the only reason Red's still around Danny is because they share a kid and he's being polite. Phyllis is saying crazy things that I think she truly believes. She thinks that Danny wants to be with her and that Christine is the only obstacle to them being together. Phyllis cannot rationalize or accept that Danny doesn't want her. Cricket's not the problem. Phyllis is the problem. I suspect Phyllis is so desperate that she'll soon decide she needs to take action to help Danny see things the way she does, that they belong together. Initially, I think Phyllis wanted Danny so Christine couldn't have him, but now I think that Phyllis has gone bat crap crazy and wants him because she's once again fixated and obsessed. Based on that, I assume Phyllis is going to do something over the top and even more inappropriate than what she's already doing. And to be clear, this is not a love triangle. This is a couple that wants to be together, Danny and Christine, and the woman stalking them, like full Fatal Attraction style. You guys see this, right? I wonder if Phyllis will decide to recapture the magic of the first time she was with Danny, when she drugged and sexually assaulted him, by doing it all over again. I could see her trying to get him drunk and into bed, and if that didn't work, she might drug him like she did before. I mean, she might do it. She showed up at the GCAC in public wearing nothing but her underwear and a coat, and then was undressing herself in public trying to tempt him. It's crazy behavior. And no lie, Phyllis is hot as heck. Christine is like a vanilla cupcake, and Phyllis is like a confetti-filled cupcake with sparklers on top and a dirty phrase written on it in icing, something like, "Dive in, Danny." I could see how Phyllis might tempt him if she showed up at the apartment, he was alone, she stripped down, straddled him, but I don't think he'd let it get that far. And that's why I fear she's going to take more drastic steps and get him incapacitated or incoherent in some way and just sex him up. And I wouldn't be surprised if she snapped a pic, sleeping in his arms, or him passed out and her awake, taking selfies of them, and then posted one on social media for Christine to see, captioning it, "That moment when your ex decides to get frisky with you." Phyllis is determined to crush any affection that Danny and Christine have for each other. She wants him for herself, and it doesn't seem to matter one bit to her that he doesn't reciprocate her feelings. Far from it. He's over her. Danny is being polite and occasionally tempted, I think, because she's hot. And it seems that's all a big mistake. Maybe Daniel or Summer can get Phyllis to stop and see the lunacy of her ways before she goes too far. But we're in February sweeps, so I wouldn't be surprised if she does a very bad thing to try and make sure Danny never walks away from her again. What do you think Phyllis will do? Drop your comments. Please click subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely come back. As always, this is Belinda from Soap Dirt.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.